Hello, my name is John W. Brisbane. Yesterday was my birthday. Not a very good one either. I had to go to court. Me and my wife, we've been separated for a couple of years now. She took off and left me and her children back in 2010 and moved in with another man that she knew when she was 12 years old. His name's Tony Shamhart. They live in Newton, Illinois. We had me and her together had 5 children together. She's claiming after 16 years of marriage and actually 18 years of marriage, it took the last 2 years for her to get the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services to help her get a divorce because she'd been gone out of the kid's life. And I've had them. I went through the flood with them in 2011 back in spring. We lost everything me and the children had. And she didn't seem to care that all the children lost everything they had. All she could care about is the drug addiction and the pills and the booze that her and her boyfriend and his family do on a regular basis, because she's called me thousands of times, hundreds of times anyway, telling me she loved me and she loved the kids and she wanted to come back. So I borrowed the money from the pastor of our church to go get her August the 16th, 2010, and she told all of our children and myself. Only reason I did it was to prove to him that I don't love you and I don't love the children anymore. So she sent us away. We came home and we didn't bother with her anymore. Well, she repeatedly called and had other people call the DCFS tip line and make accusations that I was beating and mistreating our children because she don't want them, but she doesn't want me to have them either. Well, recently, after her being gone for 15 months and sending me pictures and photographs and messages on my phone and to my children that she don't love them and that she hates them and that she told this to her own children, evidently she had a revelation. And she came to my house August the 25th on the Greyhound bus station that snuck off from her boyfriend evidently. Well, actually she didn't sneak off from him. She knew all along what she was doing. She was setting me up so she could take our children back and live with this man. And she set me up and had me arrested on September 11th, 9/11, for after her being with me for 2 weeks, stating that I beat her up on the night before at 12 o'clock when actually she got drunk and was going through drug DTs because I wouldn't take her and buy her any pills, and she was addicted to lower tab 7.5s, but she has a prescription for them, claiming that I hurt her when actually she jumped up and run her face through a door and called 911 at 7 o'clock the next morning from a neighbor's house where she got drunk, saying that I beat her up. Well, I didn't beat her up. She beat herself up. Well, she fled to the town in Superman City, which is a great place to be, Metropolis, Illinois, and went back to Effingham, Illinois, and filed charges on the 12th. Well, my children stated on September the 30th when we went to court for the EPO that she got granted to her because the judge was listening to a woman and wasn't listening to her children and her estranged husband. Well, actually her husband still, but in order to get free legal services and a free divorce, this is what she did. Well, she took our kids up there. Well, I tried to tell law enforcement all along that she flipped out on drugs, and I don't contribute to her drug abuse. I used to use myself years ago, and when I had my first baby, or when she had our first baby and we started making a family, I started giving up all that life and wildlife and drinking and partying. Well, she never gave up. She had a brother that moved in with us in Alabama. We moved out of our house. It got burnt down because some friends of mine, or actually people that I know, beat another man to death with some kind of object over there, and I knew all about it, and I tried to get the law enforcement and to understand what was going on, but he was a gay guy, and I defended him. He was my friend. Well, they burnt my house down while I took my brother-in-law, which is Michael Bales, to Alabama. While I was there, my house burned down. Well, my wife just continued to get on different drugs and be unfaithful to me while I drove a semi over the road. And telling our children now, she has lost them to the Department of Children and Family Services in Effingham, Illinois, which she flipped out the second day or third day or fourth day of January. I can't remember now, but she flipped out and tore the house all apart and stabbed him with a knife. Well, he loved her enough that he went up there and told the law enforcement that it never happened after she'd been in jail for 30 days. Well, the children were placed with one of her friends that she didn't know, and they took the kids. Well, I had visitation September the 30th granted by a judge in Effingham. Well, she didn't want to go back to Effingham and face the judge that she lied to repeatedly, knowing that she lied to him. And she's called and talked to my daughter, my oldest daughter, convinced her that she needed to go live with a 22-year-old man that I like the guy. I have to accept him because my daughter was having sex with him. But I didn't uphold it. I didn't want her. She was raped at 14 years old because her mother introduced her to a 22-year-old meth addict in Alabama. And I tried to have her mother arrested there by an officer of the law, the drug enforcement. His name was Tim Steen. Well, she abandoned her kids June the 10th, 2010, and moved in with us, Tony Shamhart in Effingham, or actually Newton, Illinois. And she's done nothing but cause me hell and misery. And now she's took our kids and she's lost them to the Department of Children and Family Services. And the Department of Children and Family Services don't want to listen to a father that stayed home with a broken leg that I broke at Fred Shields' house June 5th of 2010 because my wife was giving him massages with a massage machine, and he was a cancer patient recovering, what he told me, but he was feeding her narcotics too. And she made accusations on that I was beating her and mistreating her, and I never have. I loved her with all my heart, and I've gave up my whole life trying to make her happy and have something for our children. Well, she got our children taken away, and now the court is taking her side because she made, she told me on the phone, told her children on the phone that she would do whatever necessary, even if it meant sexual favors to the law enforcement in the town where she resides, in order to put me behind bars because I'm a sex offender. Well, I'm not a sex offender. I'm offended that the law enforcement will take a woman's story and make a man that tries to work and tries to love and honor his children's wishes, which I'd let her come back because the children asked me to. Well, she set me up right here in Massac County. It cost me everything that I worked for from the time the flood was over until August the 25th when she showed up. And I don't uphold what they're doing to me. I don't know. My children call me every day from a foster care where they were placed by the Department of Children and Family Services, telling me that all they had for supper was a can of soup. Well, I feed my children well because the simple fact, I'm a great cook. I'm a country cook. I cook beans and taters and black-eyed peas and ham and biscuits, and I'm a great cook. I took care of my children. I love my children. And I'm not going to let these people take my children if I can help it because of lies and deception that my wife and her boyfriend and all his drug addict friends and family have fabricated against me. And this started 17 years ago when we lived there for a few months because she got me kicked out of my own father's property they gave me and her as a wedding gift when our first daughter was a year old. She had sex with another man in Paducah, Kentucky, called me and told me, "Oh, I can't leave. Will you come get me?" Well, I went to get her and she had me arrested there. And this has gone on and on and on. And she's got all these people believing these horrible stories about me. And anybody that knows me knows that I played music for years. I married her too young. I thought I was Jerry Lee Lewis, but I wasn't. Well, I didn't think I was Jerry Lee Lewis. I knew I wasn't. But anyway, the Department of Children and Family Service hide crime that women commit, just like the lady that drowned her children over in Susan Smith. Another lady in Texas, drowned all her babies in the bathtub. Well, my wife is capable of the same thing because she tried to slice her own child's face off with a 11-inch serrated butcher knife in our kitchen in a drug rage because she was having sex with a neighbor and his wife 2 doors down. Well, if you're being prosecuted and persecuted because you love your children, and the Department of Children and Family Services turn a blind eye to a man that actually does care about his family and give his whole life. I'm 50 years old. Yesterday was my 50th birthday. I want your feedback, and I'd like to talk to some public official that has any common decency whatsoever for the letter of the law. Because when you file false accusations and have false accusations made about you and bring these accusations up 18 years later, 17 years, however many years it's been since these accusations were made, I feel like I've been wronged by our system. And I'll do anything I have to get my children back and the love and the respect that I have from them because they call me every day. I took them clothes to the school and dropped them off after court yesterday. Well, the police department wanted to arrest me on a violation of an EPO. Well, the EPO was against my children, and I talked to the principal, gave him almost $400 worth of clothes for my children that don't have nothing because she's dragged them through every place that you could actually drag drug addicts, drag their children. And if anybody believes their stories, they need to look at the real person. They need to come talk to me. And if there's any way possible, I'd like to get all your feedback on this because I'm being wronged in Newton, Illinois because of accusations that were made by lesbians, queers, and I'm not, I don't care what your church you go to, but when you start fornicating and making up true lies and stories to destroy a man because you were unfaithful to your husband, now that's a horse of another color. Thank you for your time, you two, and my name's John Brizentine. I have 5 children, and the social service wouldn't help me when I asked for assistance or Rita Geyer right here in Massac County when she first left. And then I let her come back, and that was my mistake. And it's cost me dearly. But if there's any way possible, I'd like to talk to some official that actually has some capacity to stifle these want lines when you can call. I can call in and tell anybody. I can pick your name out of the phone book and tell them that you sexually harassed me or my children or anybody else, and they will come and harass the living crap out of you when there's nothing other than just somebody having something to do. So thank you for your time, and post this, and I hope I get some results from this because I'm not running from no one. I never have.